Hello, welcome to 14 Stories in 14 Days. My name's Sarah Coyle. Hello. And I'm going to read you a little bit of a book I wrote called The Biggest Story. Now, I wrote the words for this, for The Biggest Story. There's my name, Sarah Coyle. And over here you've got Dan Taylor, who's the very, very clever man who did the illustrations for The Biggest Story. And this is Errol, and he's the lead character. Now, during the course of my reading, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a little bit. If you want, you can pause when I say pause to have a little chat to your grown-up or whoever's sitting with you about what's going on in the story. Let's get started. I'm going to start with saying pause straight away. Hold on, let's find out why. Can you have a look at this picture of Errol and have a little chat and see what Errol's been up to this afternoon? Pause. Okay, so what did you think Errol's been up to? He's got video games here that he's been playing and blocks of Lego towers, paper aeroplanes. What's going on? Well, Errol's mum told the best stories. They were always fun and exciting. So one afternoon, when there was nothing to do, Errol knew a story was just what he needed. Unfortunately, there was a plumbing problem. Sorry, Errol, said his mum, but this pipe won't fix itself. Why don't you think up a story instead? Errol shook his head. I can't tell a story. I don't know how. Bet you can, said his mum. Just have a go. Outside in the garden, Errol tried hard to think up a story. But star jumps didn't shake any ideas out, and staying upside down for a full minute only made his ears hurt. He was so busy thinking he didn't notice the ants until... Psst, said the biggest ant. We couldn't help overhearing that you're telling a story. Will it have ants in it? Wow, sure, said Errol. He'd never met a talking ant before. Perhaps other animals could talk. Ahem, said a low voice. Now, I'm going to ask you to pause again in a second and have a look at this picture. And when you pause, choose which cat you would like to be or have, up to you. Okay, pause. Which cat did you want to be? I do like this one up here on this fence. Let's find out what's happening. A tabby cat was tapping Errol's foot. You know, she said, the best stories have cats in them. With an awful kerfuffle, all the neighbourhood cats bobbed up onto the fence. Each cat sat at a polite distance from the next cat. Cats like a bit of space. So what do you say? Asked a tortoiseshell cat. Any room for cats in your story? Ants and cats? Errol's story was getting better already. Errol looked round the garden. What else does my story need? Okay, let's pause again for another second. What do you think Errol's story needs next? Have a little chat. Pause. Hello, shall we find out? What else does my story need? Stunts! Shouted a sheep, clipping the gate as she jumped into the garden. Showering splinters, a long line of sheep hopped after her. You need action, excitement, paragliding. Sheep do all that stuff. Done. Errol grinned. He had everything he needed to start his story. But just then, the ground trembled and shook. A mob of meerkats burst through the fence. Elephants, lizards, pandas, monkeys, even a sleek leopard followed. So, the leopard looked excited. Word in the wildlife park is, you're telling a story. Good news, we're in. Errol gave a low whistle. To fit everyone in, This story would have to be big. Okay, he said, but that's definitely it. There's no room for anyone else. Not even... Not even what? What do you think? Have a little chat. Pause. Shall we find out? Dinosaurs! Shouted the sheep. A stegosaurus and a gigantic T-Rex stood beaming as they sank slowly into the lawn. A new story's always worth travelling through time and space for, the T-Rex explained. Of course, we were in the very first story, said the stegosaurus smugly. I wonder if this... I hope this one's as good. The audience fell silent, waiting for the story to begin. Errol gulped. He felt as though he'd eaten too much pizza, and the pizza was made of bees. Would his story be any good? Let's take another little pause for a second to have a look again. What do you think Errol is feeling right now? Pause. I've got my tea. Errol's mum sat down, but didn't seem to notice that her chair was covered in monkeys. I'm all ready for your story. Errol grinned at her. Then he took a deep breath and began. Now, I don't have time to read you the rest of the biggest story today, so if you can get hold of a copy of the book, then you can find out what happens at the end. But I can tell you that Errol does tell his story, and he's very proud to do so. So if you want to go away and write a story today, or tell a story, or pretend a story, maybe you can let me know about it. I'd love to read them. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.